book.
Yay!
Happy Sunday to you too. Thank you. All right, I'm ready.
Good to learn, Kat?
Yes.
Here we go.
Thank
So
you.
Daniel is a book written.
Daniel. Written. Pop, I like your getup. That looks really cool.
In 605 BC by this guy named Daniel, who was taken captive into Babylon. Right? He was given this ability to interpret dreams. He had these three buddies named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who had other names to start with, and their names were changed to Babylonian names. Okay? What he did was I'm on one slide early. Last week we were talking about things that had to happen before the end could come. What he prophesied was that there was 4 nations. And this was represented by a statue with a golden head, silver arms, a bronze middle, iron legs, and feet mixed with iron and clay. All right, the last nation, the last empire is what we were talking about. It has to reform on earth. But in order for the end to come, we know because of Bible prophecy, Israel has to exist as a nation in the Middle East. It didn't exist from 70 AD to 1967, right? Because the UN made a charter. Because there was no Israel 1517 to 1916. It was dominated by the Ottoman Empire. It wasn't Israel. The Turks owned it. And then in 1917 and 1948, the British Commonwealth came in and owned it. By the way, at the time, the land was known as Palestine, right? So, the UN, after World War II, feels bad for the Jews because they got butchered by the millions in Auschwitz, etc., and they gave them a homeland. Deuteronomy 33 says, "Then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes. He will have mercy on you and gather you back from the nations where he has scattered you." Okay, this is talking about the Jews being dispersed out through the world and being called back for a specific point in history so he can bless them according to what he has promised. "Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will gather your children from east and west. I will say to the north and south, bring my sons and daughters back to Israel from the distant corners of the earth." Now guess what?
They did it.
That happened.
Yeah.
That happened. And unless Israel ceases to be a nation again and then starts to be a nation again, probably this is what it's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Are we still on the feet or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're going to finish.
When do the feet end?
With the coming of Christ.
Oh, okay.
The time. Remember how we looked at Luke 21:24, mm-hmm. and Christ called this the times of the Gentiles?
Yeah.
The times of the Gentile ends when he comes. Remember just 2 slides ago with Zechariah 12:2. He here, or 14, he comes back, he puts his feet on the Mount of Olives, he splits it, and that's it. That's the end. For the whole world. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess on that day. So the UN gave parts in yellow to Israel, and the parts in brown to the Arabs, and they were supposed to just coexist, okay? Problem is, guess what? They've been fighting for a really long time, and they don't like each other, man. So they've been fighting ever since. So here we go, start here. See how it's early. All right. So last couple weeks we were dream revealed. 4 kingdoms ruled the world. Giant idol, statue. Okay, so here were the empires: Babylon, and then Medo-Persia, and then Greece, Rome. Rome, remember, 2 legs, east and west, iron. They ruled. They were brutal, the most brutal empire ever, like hands down, brutal. They had Pax Romana. Everybody was afraid to defy Rome because if you did, guess what happened to you?
Yeah.
They killed you. They didn't just kill you. They killed your family. They burned down your village. They slaughtered you. And they were so vicious about it that the rest of the empire after a time just went, shh. Hail Caesar. Shut up. You know what I mean? Because they knew the Romans were brutal, man. So, Dream foretells all the times of the Gentiles, and that leaves the feet. And I did this I just did this slide too, man. So that's where I should start. All right, so the new Roman Empire was predicted in the feet. It's the shortest and final section of the statue. Remember how the golden head was only like 70 years or whatever?
Yeah.
And then the middle was 200 years, and then it was like 200 and something years, and then the legs are long, and that was whatever, 1,500 years.
Yeah.
Okay, the feet are the shortest part of the statue, right? Mm-hmm. This last empire is only going to be here. It's going to rise and then fall. It's going to produce the capital A Antichrist, and that's it. We covered a lot of that last week too. So, the iron mixed with clay is symbolic of strength combined with weakness, right? The seed of men. Iron is strong, it's brutal, it's tough. But the clay won't hold the iron together because can you mix iron and clay?
No.
No, it's democracy. That's what they're talking about. It's going to be a lot of voices clamoring all to have their way, which is a weak system of government compared to like a king, the head of gold. He says it happens, that's it, it happens. There's no discussion. If he says I'm going to kill all the Chaldeans, guess what?
They're dead.
They're dead. That's it. There's no discussion about it. So Revelation 17, 12, 13 says, the 10 horns which you saw are the 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but they receive authority as kings with the beast for 1 hour. These have one purpose, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. This is talking about the new Roman Empire. Okay? And how long is 1 hour actually? Remember, that's prophetic time. Right? Not very long. Okay, this is the Roman Empire as it was on earth. Notice that, I was thinking about this, we always talk about Western Europe, but it was Africa and the Middle East too, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's the whole thing, man. Israel's right there. So, that's the nation that's going to rise again. Not just this. This. It's going to rise. Turkey is being entered into the EU right now. Turkey's a Muslim nation. They're Muslim. I mean, they're talking Sharia law there, okay? And they're very unstable right now. So, from the new Roman Empire comes the capital of the Antichrist. Everyone's been hearing about that the whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That guy's the Antichrist. No, that guy's the Antichrist. Everyone always thinks the President of the United States is the Antichrist. Every single one. Every single one, I've always heard that.
No, I don't think I was
Oh, Bill Clinton? He's the Antichrist.
Oh, yeah.
I heard you.
Look,
And then Obama guy. Oh, yeah.
Obama?
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And by the way, Bush?
Definitely Bush.
I did a search for Antichrist. I found pictures of Bush and Obama and Clinton all with masks.
Oh, so there's 3 of them, huh?
Well, it's just what people are always looking, right? Because Christians, we've been hearing about this our whole life. So we're always like, well, who is Antichrist? Who is Antichrist? Who is Antichrist? Oh, he's Antichrist. He's Antichrist. All right, what?
Has the feet period started yet?
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So, well, this is what we know for sure, okay?
Okay.
I'm not willing to definitively say yes. But the EU has risen out of the ashes of the
What's the
Roman
EU?
Empire, right?
The
European Union. All these countries have already joined it. Okay, they have a common currency, which is what really joins us together in the United States of America. It's open borders. It's a common currency. I mean, we have a common heritage, but more than that, I can take my dollar bills and go to Georgia and plop them down in a 7-Eleven and get a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? It's shared. It's open. Okay, that's what the Roman Empire had, and now they're rising out of it, and it's a pretty good chunk of it now, down to Turkey. I think Turkey's right. Well,
It's that big thing
there,
right there.
maybe. And so they're expanding. They're expanding. Okay, and definitely it says that the Antichrist will seem to have been dead, but then rise. Right? Well, it seems to me that Europe was gone. There, all the power of Europe had left, and now here they're rising again as a world force. So is this what the Antichrist looks like?
Yes.
Probably not.
Painful. Wait. Oh, wait. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, let's talk
I was like,
about it. Is this what the Antichrist looks like?
No.
We don't know.
He looks like a normal person.
Yeah, I'm sure that he'll fit in and everything.
He'll look like a
He's
normal
gonna
person.
fit in.
And a lot of people will believe him, so he can't look scary.
That's right. He will not look like this.
No.
He'll actually be charming. Don't we know that he's one of the horns? From the 10 horns comes one horn. What does that mean? What's a horn?
The power.
Remember in Revelation, the 10 horns have diadems on them, which is crowns. Okay? So these 10 rulers are going to, from this group, from this new empire, is going to rise one man. He's going to be a king of a European nation. Okay? He's going to rise from there. That is where he's coming from. So, he's not going to look like this, man. He's going to be Captain Swallow. He's going to be, you're going to listen to him talk and be like,
James Bond.
he's carrying me. In fact, that's why I thought maybe Clinton
Johnny
was.
Depp. No.
Because Clinton lied to you and made you feel really good about yourself, man. You'd be like, wait, I know he's lying. Change the channel, right? Clinton is smooth, man. All right, so before the Antichrist comes, there's some things we must transpire. And that's kind of where we were last week. Let's continue looking at our review of the prophecy, okay? A reborn Roman Empire, it's happening. It's called the EU. Unless it all collapses and then rises again. You know? Because
So
the
we're
church age
assuming
wasn't
that-
seen by the Old Testament. The time we're living in, the times of the Gentiles, is the mystery Paul was proclaiming. He looked at the Old Testament prophecies and he didn't understand that there was going to be this whole church age, this whole middle time between Christ's resurrection and the end. He didn't see it. You can't see it in Scripture. The Old Testament doesn't see it. As the prophets look forward from end times, they sort of just skipped over it. Like right in Zechariah, you see prophecies of Jesus Christ first coming and Jesus Christ second coming. Well, he doesn't delineate. It's not easy to tell, you know? So that's what the mystery he was preaching. So, a reborn Roman Empire, check. Probably the EU. The ability to end all life on earth. Remember we said that if the times weren't ended, all meat, the word life there, would come to an end. It was stopped for the sake of the elect, so that because all life would end. And that word life isn't soul, spiritual life. You know, it's meat, all flesh. All flesh would cease to exist.
We've been able to do that for a while now.
How would that happen? Yeah, we have about 50 years.
Atomic bombs,
Let's see all the history of Earth.
Kool-Aid.
Now, right?
Yeah.
Has it ever been possible for human beings to eradicate all meat, all flesh on the earth?
No, only
Yeah.
lasts like 60, 70 years.
More like 50. But yeah, you're right.
Well, they
But it had
could've
to
done that before
escalate.
we-
No, it had to escalate. We had to make up bombs to do it.
Yeah, that's true. We
Okay.
didn't have enough back then.
By the 60s, we probably did.
Yeah.
Okay, so check. Got that. Israel must exist as a nation in the Middle East. There's a bunch of prophecies about it. God made a bunch of promises to them, even in Daniel. By the way, why did God give Daniel the revelation right at the beginning of their Babylonian exile?
So they knew it was gonna end.
Well, so they knew it was going to end, but so they knew that God didn't forget them, right?
Yeah, so that they'd have something to hope.
Because imagine you're one of them. You're like, wait a second. How can God's promises be true? Even though it was foretold that they
Would it be
didn't.
called Israel too? Did they say that it would be called Israel?
In the new? And now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, before when they were talking about it, did they say that it would be called Israel?
In the Bible?
Yeah.
It would just be a nation. Yeah, but they always
Oh.
refer to themselves as Israel. They didn't see us. Some people think, oh, the United States is Israel, and Israel over there in the Middle East is Judah. And we've risen. I read a bunch of stuff about prophecy, but I didn't present it because you know what? I'm not sure. Because it's all symbolic language. Like, I could probably make a case for it, but then I'd have to hang my hat on that peg, and I'm not really.
Yeah. So Israel is just like the term for like a group of people?
I think when it talks about Israel in the Middle East, when I'll make it a stumbling block to all the nations around it, it speaks of Israel, it means Israel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think when it says the 12 tribes, it means the 12 tribes. Yeah.
Remember when we were looking up the word Israel?
Yeah.
And it actually literally means Prince of God.
Prince of God.
Which is pretty cool, I
Because the
thought.
guy's name was changed to Israel.
El is always
Yeah.
God, and
12
then
kids.
Israel.
One of the sons was Judah. From Judah came the last tribe. Judah and Benjamin were the last two tribes not to be corrupted. Because King Solomon was such a bad king. Yeah, Rehoboam was his son. He became king. And the 10 northern tribes said, no. You are bad. You are a bad man. So they left, okay? So for as wise as he wasn't very good king.
Well, that was his son.
So, anyway, Israel exists as a nation. All right, here we go. What else has to happen before the end comes? Matthew 24:14 says, the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. That's pretty definitive, right?
Yeah.
We looked at it was Luke 21:32, I think, where it says, the generation who sees this will see the end. What was he saying there? All of these things are going to happen in one generation. From the beginning of all these prophetics to the end. Because Christ gives them all. He lists them in one sermon. And when he says the generation that sees this will see the end, who's he referring to? Because he's not going to talk to the generation of guys in front of him. You know how I know? They're dead.
One of them's
They're
dead.
dead. Okay, they're in heaven now. He's talking about the generation that sees these things will see the end. So Israel became a nation again in 1967. The generation that saw that will see the end. Unless Israel's going to go away again and then come back again. Okay, so probably. Or at least maybe. I can't say definitively or I'll be here all camping. Alright, so well, communist and Islamic countries prohibit the gospel. The internet is doing what no media ever could, right? If you got an internet, guess what? You can find truth.
Yep.
True.
You can find anything you want. They can block me all I want to try to stop me from getting on certain sites, and you know what? I'll figure out how. And even if I won't figure out how, you know who will?
The super
Kids. Kids. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look, I can have a problem with my phone and be like, hey Maggie, help me out. She's like, oh yeah, do. For any of you, you get it better than we do.
Reba's pretty good at it.
All of you.
It was made by a
So
bunch of
it
kids.
doesn't
They were
actually
20.
mean like preached, but like they're available to everybody?
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that right now.
Okay.
Sorry, hold up, what?
No, I was gonna say, like, that really is true, because, you know, like, the internet was made by a bunch of 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, they were all college kids and, like, right into the military. They were all, like...
And they love the idea, because they're young and idealistic, they love the idea of shared property. Look, I bought this CD, it's my CD, and if I want to upload it, that's my song to use as I see fit. I own the CD, and the band's like, that's how we eat. And our concert tickets cost $100, you know what I mean? It's crazy, but yeah, you're right. So it's difficult to control a good message as negative, right? Look, when I look for my images, and I've said this a lot, it's a good illustration. I look for these images for my things, I can't believe the trash I see. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I want to be pure. I don't want to see it. I type in these things which you would think were pretty benevolent. These little things I'm trying to come up with to get an image from my slideshows. These, I'm like, don't look at that. You know what I'm saying? It's everywhere. It's everywhere on the internet. It's incredible. I mean, I got to imagine by the time somebody's 12 years old, they've probably seen everything a human being can see. It's crazy. But the thing is, it works the other way around also.
Yeah, because they see the good stuff too.
They have the internet in China, and they have all kinds of filters and all these things to try to stop the people from having access to this information. And guess what? They get it anyway. I was listening to John MacArthur. He was talking to this guy that was a Islamic guy who contacted him. He was some kind of big wig, like a college. Oh no, it was William Lane Craig. Check, it was William Lane Craig. This Islamic guy in a college over there somehow. Well, he was Islamic. He's a professor. But he started reading all this stuff on the internet and started weighing out the arguments for himself. So William Lane Craig goes and he debates these Islamic guys. William Lane Craig he's my hero. He's a smart guy. And he goes and this guy contacts him and he starts confronting him with all this evidence he had been reading on the internet. And he converted. He converted. Why? Because the truth resonates, man.
Amen.
Because, and we're going to get into that too, man, next week. Oh, man, it's a good lesson next week. I keep thinking more to it because that's what I've just been working on for the last couple days. It's a good one. So, it just depends on how you define what Jesus said as the whole world. Flashback to your question like 18 seconds ago? So, here's the whole world, okay? These places in green are 100% reached. Okay, everyone who wants to know Jesus in these areas knows him. Okay? Or they're going to know him because you know why? Because we're going to go tell them.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, like, you really can't, a lot of those, well, I can't say other places, but like the U.S., I know people who legitimately, I've spoken to people who don't know who Jesus is, like, at all. And they live in the U.S. where, like, every hotel has a Bible in it, like, if they wanted to, they could, but they don't.
Okay, by the way,
We were just talking about that.
check this out, dude. This is a true fact from Mike Potter, who has traveled an awful lot in this country. Certain areas, on Sunday morning, you can watch 2 or 3 different church channels. So you want to watch church on Sunday morning if you're me, you know? So you're like, all right, I want some church on Joyce Meyer, no, you know, whatever. Other parts of the country, there's no church channel. There's no church channel. By the way, there's no Bible in the hotel room either.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Taking them out.
Yeah.
Well, the hotel I was at the other day.
Yeah, okay, in this part of the nation, Bibles, every hotel, church channels. This part of the nation,
Yep,
not so
gone.
much.
What's wrong with that?
Not so much.
Wow. I didn't know that.
They are very
Because I always put
close
the
Christian.
$1
And by the way, when you
bill
go
on.
out and
Where's the
evangelize,
Bible?
let's go Friday.
Couldn't find it.
Okay, for sure? For real.
Friday evening, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They're
This one on
hostile.
Fridays again.
They're hostile in Ohio. When you preach the gospel, they're like, get the wow. This is nice to you. Florida. Other parts, West Virginia, they practically give you a hug.
Yep.
I'm telling you, by region, we are losing our faith in this country.
So how are they reached?
Well, way of the master is how I reach them.
No, but how can they be considered reached?
That's what I was saying.
Well, let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay. So this part here, this yellow, 50% reached. Because basically in that area, there's still some people living in villages that don't have computers and whatnot. They're rapidly modernizing in China, and a lot of missionaries are there now. The communists are far more open to the gospel than the Islamic countries. They just are.
Wow.
They're hardline communists, but they understand that when you have Christianity, guess what you want to do? Love for your fellow man, do everything under the God, you know, serve it. I mean, Christians are good people. They're good to have around. We're easily, we are. It's okay. And the communists realize this. They don't care. But they care if the guy has hope as long as he goes to the factory and makes your iPod. cheaper, right?
That's true.
Crying shame, but it's true.
Work for Constantinople, right?
All right. So
Hey, Mike, can you point out Korea on the map?
Korea is right there.
So you can't really see it from here. It's
North,
not labeled. It's
little
the
green,
little
and
green.
south.
Yeah.
and orange.
So the south is reached.
Yeah, the north.
Oh, south is totally.
Yeah, I had a friend who lived there, and I figured the whole country didn't have anything, but she was telling me how there's churches everywhere in South Korea.
South Korea.
Yeah, there's a big wonky Joel Osteen type guy from South Korea, right? We watched him. He's very charismatic, very good speaker.
It's only like 5
Kind of not preach the same gospel, I believe in, but he's a pretty charismatic guy. So, and also, okay, now look, the Japanese are Shintoists, right? Buddhists, whatever. India, a lot of Hindus. So what you're coming to is that this is about 30% reached, okay? A lot of people here have heard it because they're somewhat tolerant of Christians. I mean, if you're look, if I'm a Hinduist, if I'm a Hindu, what am I called? A Hindu-itis? Something. Hindu.
I don't know what they're
Hindi.
And if I'm a Hindi and I worship my statue that I made, and I believe that life is illusory, in other words, life isn't real anyway, and your reality is real for you and my reality is real for me, it's not offensive for me. You come preach the gospel, what do I care? You know what I mean? If you're laying there dying, starving to death, and that's your chi or your karma, well, that's your problem, right? So what do I care? I'm a lot less likely to come over there and kill you, and that is until you start messing with my caste system and mess. Hey, that's my servant. Tell him about Christ. I'll slash you. Okay. So it's not perfect, but it's more tolerant. And then, of course, the hard Muslim nations, they'll kill you, right? They'll kill you. You're Christian. You are literally a lower life form. You're lower than the cattle. Okay. You are a slave. You are a subject. I was telling these guys before, all the Christian women, by the way, are going to go and serve the Muslims in their paradise as sex slaves.
With their virgins.
Because that's what the Quran says, so it must be true. You believe that?
No.
Yeah. I mean, is that the religion of peace?
No.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Woohoo! Let's, yeah, we'll subjugate all those women.
Man made that up or God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The holy God and King of the universe is like, yeah, you chicks over there, you're going to go, what?
Yeah.
Really? Who would believe in that, man? Whatever. So it's only 10% reached. So is the gospel preached there? Yep. Only about 10% of the people have really heard it, really know it. Whatever. And whoever figured this out, they were really helpful for me for my lesson. But I don't know how they got their numbers either.
I don't know how they got their numbers.
Still, it's pretty handy
I
map,
think
right?
it's Voice of the Martyr. Yeah.
I like
It might be.
It might have been Voice of the Martyr. Some side I have the
Yeah, I
same
think that
favorites.
does because they have one like that.
Yeah.
So, Revelation 11:3 it says, "I will grant authority to my two witnesses." Okay, but so by the way, I don't know. I don't know how true it has to be. I don't know if the whole map has to be green. I don't know what Jesus said. I don't know. I mean, what do I know? But Revelation 11:3 says, "I will grant authority to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth." So there's going to be these two dudes who come, and these are going to be supernatural dudes. At the point that these guys come, the whole world's going to know. There's not going to be any questions about it. The whole world's not going to be like, I wonder if paranormal reality actually exists. No. These guys are going to be able to breathe fire. I mean, these guys are going to be a worldwide phenomenon.
What is their purpose?
To preach the word. Preach the word to Israel, okay? Revelation 8:9 says, "And their dead bodies," they're getting killed, by the way, by the capital Antichrist. "Their dead bodies will lie in the street of the great city, which will mystically is called Sodom and Egypt," which is Jerusalem, "where also their Lord was crucified." And that's how we know it's Jerusalem, because where was the Lord crucified? Jerusalem. "Those from the peoples and tribes and tongues and nations will look at their dead bodies for 3.5 days and will not permit their dead bodies to be laid in a tomb." Now, okay, this is kind of neither here nor there because we'll probably be raptured by this point anyway. I hope. But how would the whole world view an event?
On the news.
On the news!
Media.
That's right. You can literally see the stuff happening in Egypt right now if you put on CNN. Go put on, I don't have CNN, but if we were to go to a hotel or something and put on CNN, there would be everything happening in Egypt right now. Now look, if two guys were to come and proclaim the Lord, because remember, when's Christ coming back to Jerusalem, by the way? Oh, we're going to do that in a minute. Yeah, let's kill it, that's the end of the lesson. Alright. So it's on the TV set. Hey, let's put on a TV set. Click.
And we're gonna see these two
He owns
guys.
one of those TVs.
Aww.
These are supernatural events, man. God sends these two messengers who can breathe fire out of their mouth. Guess what? Everybody in the whole planet's going to be doing.
Freaking
Fire.
out.
And by the way, at this point, the whole tribulation has started. So everyone's dying. Like, everyone is dying. Left Behind series? Not so much. Not so much. It's not what the Bible says.
Right.
Once the people get raptured, everyone on earth is going to just be under judgment like nothing we can even imagine. People will be dying by the millions. It's going to be very, very frightening. Yeah.
I was just reading this morning about you will not see the moon and stars.
Uh-huh.
And I was just curious what your thoughts on it. I was kind of thinking maybe they would develop some kind of way to get a nuclear energy, and maybe that drains the stars, or do you think it'll actually be, well, that's the time and they're just going to start going out?
Well, I think that the Old Testament prophets predicted that, and Jesus echoed it because it's in Joel, right? There's going to be these great signs in the
I
heavens.
can't remember. Actually, it was in March.
It could no, that could be where the New Testament references back. We just
Yeah.
studied Joel. I
Matthew
think it was in
too.
Joel. So,
Just
okay,
what are your thoughts
here's the stars, okay? Because here's the Milky Way galaxy.
And the stars fall from the
Okay,
sky.
the Earth
This
is
what I'm talking about.
right there, and there's 1 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, right? Whatever stops us from seeing the stars probably won't be the stars themselves. It'll probably be some kind of cataclysmic world event, and I don't know.
So it's not necessarily they're going out.
I don't
We
think so.
just won't be able to see them.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think that
Maybe
while
a
I
big
believe the
cloud
Bible
over.
is literally true, I don't believe we've had a complete revelation of everything.
Yeah.
I believe that God gave us what we need. I accept that God made the universe. I'm absolutely positive He designed me. I know He started everything. He made every star. He is the omniscient and omnipotent God of everything. I know I'm designed, for sure. If you were like, well, I'm never going to believe 7 days. Well, I don't know.